Hey, what's good? It's Andrew from ProducerSociety.com. Today I'm going to show you guys what I think are some of the best vocal plugins for Garageband. Now I have about 8 of them. However, the one batch of plugins, it comes with a ton of them, and I think there's maybe like 37 of them. But among those 37, I only chose about, I think, 13 approximately. But anyway, so we're gonna go through each one right now, and the first one I'm gonna tell you is the one that I've recommended many times before, which is Melodyne 5 Studio. This is an incredible plugin, and it's so useful in so many different ways that I personally just think it's essential. It's kind of funny because it's actually called Essential. It's called Melodyne 5 Essential if you get the cheapest one, and it really is essential. Like you get the essential characteristics of what make it a good plugin. But anyway, I'm just gonna kind of show you how it works right now. I have it loaded up right here. So you have I got my main voice right here, and I got the Melodyne loaded on the bottom. Typically, you would actually put that before the rest of your signal chain. I would do that before the signal chain. I just have to rearrange all of these plugins now. There we go. So yeah, so I would put it before in the signal chain. So what you do is you open it up after you've downloaded it and all that, and then you hit this button transfer, and then you hit play.
19 anni, tu 16 e mezzo, da allora ne è passato un pezzo, mi ricordo bene, forse anche tu, la prima cena fuori, 2 Big Mac.
So obviously I'm not going to do the whole thing, but yeah, this is what it does. So you got these are all the notes. Now if it doesn't pick up on the algorithm properly, you can actually change the algorithm in here, because sometimes that will happen. Typically not with singing, but if you're doing another instrument, you might have to do that. But typically you don't with singing. So it puts the notes in this blob format, and what that allows you to do is you can adjust them. You can literally just like spot correct different notes. Now, when you move it like that, it sounds robotic and it sounds unnatural. However, when you play it, it actually adjusts, the Melodyne adjusts the notes while retaining the human quality of it, so it doesn't sound terrible. You know what I mean? It sounds good. So I'll just show you what I mean. Now I'm gonna make some of these notes so they're off key, just because like they're already on key. So it's kind of like this is my only way of showing you. But so let's play it, and I'll show you what it sounds like.
19 anni, tu 16 e mezzo, da allora ne...
I'm going to show you again.
19 anni, tu 16 e mezzo.
So you can see the way that I changed that, right? Let's put it up one more.
19 anni, tu 16.
So it actually adjusts the sound without messing with the human quality of it, like I said before. Now there's more that you can do with Melodyne. There's a ton more, and I'm not going to touch on all of it today. I'm just going to touch on the essential characteristics. If you want to read more about Melodyne, just check out my Melodyne article on my website, Producer Society, or just look at the YouTube videos that I've done on it before. But either way, like you can adjust like the amount of vibrato within the notes or the pitch drift, and like you can export it as MIDI. So for instance, like you can turn an audio recording into MIDI and then load it back into GarageBand, and then use a score editor and actually have a transcription for the audio file. So it's incredibly useful. I recommend getting either the Assistant or the Studio, but the Essential will work just fine for now, which is a lot cheaper. It's very affordable for most people. But anyway, so let's move on to the next one. The next plugin that I think is really useful is the Bob Perry Noise Gate. I mean, if we're talking about vocals, man, like a noise gate is pretty much crucial. You know, it's crucial. It's like you gotta have it. You know, you gotta have a noise gate. And if you know anything about GarageBand, like you just have like this very like basic GarageBand, very basic parameters. You know what I mean? Like you just adjust it in dB, and yes, it works. It works good. However, the Bob Perry Noise Gate, it has a few more parameters which make it a lot more useful. So, for instance, you have the threshold, the attack, the hold, the release, and then the range. So you can actually like adjust the shape of the gating. So for instance, I'm going to show you what I mean right now. Like let's play this. Let's crank the volume up a bit. Let's turn the noise gates off.
19.
So you can hear that breath, right?
19.
You can hear that breath right there, and I'll show you the other breath right here.
Camice.
So in terms of like this noise gate right here, the regular GarageBand one, it's cool because like you adjust it like that, and then it'll eliminate the breaths completely.
19.
However, you might run into issues later because of the way that it's set up, the way it's so non-specific. Like it might actually mess with parts of the recording later on. So the Bob Perry noise gate allows you to get around that by these attack, hold, release, and range functions. So let's turn this off right now, and I'll show you what I mean. Like you got the Bob Perry's noise gate, so it's turned on right now.
19.
So what it actually does is that like you can
19.
adjust it so that it doesn't eliminate the breath completely. You know what I mean? Like it's still like you hear like a remnants of it, and I don't know. I just feel like it has more of a natural vibe to it. It's like more realistic. In terms of how I would go about using it, I usually just I usually just listen to it. Right? I usually set the threshold around this area, 25, but I just like listen and then adjust it on a case by case basis. Like I listen to the track and then I go like that. And then when it finally starts messing with it, then I adjust the other parameters. And then it also has this handy bar on it.
19 anni, tu sei 10 e mezzo, da allora.
Like it lets you know whether or not it's working. So now it's on. I find that the range is a good parameter to adjust. I find that I don't know, it seems to work the best when I use it.
Camicetta bianca e le mie Vans nere, patatine fritte e cocada fritte e cocada fritte e cocada fritte e cocada.
See, it's even working in between these notes, but it's actually not messing with it. Like it doesn't sound bad.
Patatine fritte e cocada bere, prendi un milkshake alla fragola, allunga 11 e 20, andiamo via da qua.
So yeah, this is a dope noise gate. You can actually get a premium version of it too, which has more parameters. I find that this one works just fine, but I mean, if you really wanted to get the better one, you could. Anyway, so let's move on to the next one. The next one is the MFreeFXBundle. Let's go down here. The MFreeFXBundle. On my website here, I've explained every plugin that it comes with pretty well. I eliminated the ones that don't work in GarageBand. But anyway, so I'm going to show you what it's all about. There's a few plugins in here that are extremely useful, like the, where is it? Sorry, the M Auto Pan. So yeah, the M Auto Pan, it's super awesome. What it essentially does is that sorry, I'm just moving something right now. It's like, it automatically pans the signal from the left and the right. So I'll show you what it sounds like right now. Here's what it sounds like normally.
19 anni, tu sei 10.
Now let's put the auto pan on.
19 anni, tu sei 10 e mezzo.
So obviously it's panning from left and the right, and you can actually adjust it. Like you can adjust the speed at which it pans.
19 anni, tu sei 10 e mezzo, da allora ne è passato un pezzo, mi ricordo bene, forse anche tu, la prima cena fuori, 2 Big Mac menù. Da allora ne è passato un pezzo, mi ricordo bene.
And then you can also do other things like you can shape the sine wave, like you can actually shape the way that it pans.
19 anni, tu sei 10 e mezzo, da allora ne è passato un pezzo, mi ricordo bene, forse anche tu, la prima cena fuori, 2 Big Mac menù. So
that's really dope. It's a very useful feature that I think definitely makes this panning plugin useful. So the next one is the M Auto Pitch. So the M Auto Pitch, this is a pitch correction software. So this is an auto-tune plugin, essentially. Let's go down. So Melodyne is dope. It's great for its audio. It's an audio editing software, and it's incredibly specific and very useful. However, like it doesn't really do like an auto-tune, at least from not what I'm aware of. Maybe it does actually. I'm not even sure. But regardless, the M Auto Pitch, this is how you get like free auto-tune vocals, and it sounds pretty dope.
19 anni, tu 16 e mezzo, da allora ne è passato un pezzo, mi ricordo bene, forse anche tu, la prima cena fuori, 2 Big Mac menu.
So you can see how that works, right? So the depth is what controls the strength of this plugin. Like it controls the strength of the auto tune.
Da allora ne è passato un pezzo, mi ricordo bene, forse anche tu, la prima cena fuori, 2 Big Mac menu.
And then the speed is adjusting like how fast it latches onto the signal. So let's put the depth on again.
19 anni, tu 16.
So it's a little hardcore there, right? Like we don't need it at that level. So let's put it down to like 30.
19 anni, tu 16 e mezzo.
So this is how you get that like Travis Scott vibe. It's very easy to use, and also you have a lot of presets, right? So I'll show you right now.
19 anni, tu 16 e mezzo. Da allora ne è passato un pezzo, mi ricordo bene, forse anche tu, la prima cena fuori, 2 Big Mac menu.
So yeah.
Anni, tu 16 e mezzo, da allora ne è passato un pezzo, mi ricordo bene, forse.
So remember, the depth and the speed, these are like the most important things, I would say. And also, I guess you could do the dry and the wet, because that's going to adjust how much of the signal is actually processed by the plugin. So let's move on to the next one. That was M Auto Pitch. This is M Channel Matrix. This one is kind of cool too. Admittedly, it's not the most useful, but you could find a use for it. So this is just like switching, like it's inputting the signal into the left or right depending on how you set it up. So for instance, it's kind of a mouthful, so I'll play it right now.
19 anni, tu 16 e mezzo, da allora ne è passato un pezzo, mi ricordo bene, forse anche tu, la prima cena fuori, 2 Big Mac menu.
So yeah, you're just like putting the signal into one speaker over the other, and that's kind of what it does. And also you can do the same thing with like side chaining.
19 anni, tu 16 e mezzo, da allora ne è passato un pezzo, mi ricordo bene, forse anche tu, la prima cena fuori, 2 Big Mac menu.
So that's a cool plugin as well. Let's go on to the M compressor. So this is a standard compressor, but there's more features on it. There's more like cool features, and there's more parameters and specific ways of adjusting things. So you got your compressor right here. I'll show you. So here it is. So this is useful in a number of ways. So for instance, you have a really useful, I'm going to say useful a lot in this video, like you have a really functional threshold analyzer or spectrum analyzer or whatever you want to call it.
19 anni, tu 16.
So you can actually see like so you can actually see where the threshold is set, right? And then you can see where like the signal is like bouncing up against it. So you can actually adjust the threshold, and then you actually know like what's going on exactly. Like you can see how the signal is reacting to the settings, right? So let's do it again.
19 anni, tu 16 e mezzo, da allora ne è passato un pezzo.
So when we do that, when we bring it over this way, we're lowering the threshold, and then we're making it so we're compressing way more of the signal. And I think this thing is incredibly dope. I think this analyzer, it makes it very useful. And when you adjust these settings, it's very useful. And here's your ratio as well, so you can actually adjust, like it's showing you on the graph like what it's doing.
Mi ricordo bene, forse anche tu, la prima cena fuori, 2 Big Mac menu. Mi ricordo bene, forse anche tu, la prima cena fuori, 2 Big Mac.
And then also, as per usual, you have your presets.
19 anni, tu 16 e mezzo, da
So yeah, those are all the presets that you got on this. There's a ton of them. And then another thing that's worth mentioning about all these plugins is that there's like a question mark on the top right hand side, which is going to explain things to you. It's going to explain you like how it works and like how to do things with it. So it's very useful. This is a very good plugin to have, I would say. The next one is the Convolution Easy. So this is all, I don't know if I already said this, but this is all from the Melda Production MFreeFXBundle. You can find the link in the video description as well as on my website. So the Convolution Easy is a reverb plugin. That's what it is. It's a reverb plugin, and it comes with a lot of impulse response loaders, which is, I don't know why they call it that, but it's just like a really fancy way of saying that it like imitates certain room styles. So for instance, it imitates like a concert hall, or it imitates like a stage, for instance. But anyway, so this is just a reverb plugin that allows you to do all kinds of stuff.
Mi ricordo bene, forse anche tu, la prima cena.
So this is obviously the dry wet adjust the amount of signal that's being processed. That's putting it more in stereo. And these high pass and these low pass filters, what they do is they actually like adjust it controls how much the reverb plugin is affecting certain frequencies of the audio recording. So like a low pass will adjust more of like the low frequencies on the reverb, and the high pass, or excuse me, the low frequencies, and then the high pass affects the high frequencies. I might have that switched up, but I'm kind of in a rush right now. But anyway, so basically this is just like a more sophisticated reverb plugin that allows you to do a lot more in terms of like shaping the actual reverb. Garageband has good reverb as well, but this one is just like an extra one that, you know, you might find very useful. I recommend going through the presets in all of these plugins just to see what you can kind of get, and then you have a feel for what's possible. But anyway, so let's move on to the next one, which is the Equalizer. This is a really nice equalizer plugin that, I mean, frankly, you might think like, what do I need another equalizer plugin for? That's what I thought when I first tried this thing. But this thing actually comes with like a really handy saturation knob, which I think is incredible. Like, I listen to it and it sounds so good.
19 anni, tu 16 e mezzo, da allora ne è passato un pezzo, mi ricordo.
Like, when you increase the saturation, it actually sounds like juicy. You know what I'm saying? It sounds juicy.
Da allora ne è passato un pezzo, mi ricordo bene, forse anche tu, la prima ceto. Da allora ne è passato un pezzo, mi ricordo.
So yeah, it's a 6-band equalizer, so that means you control it by like 6 parameters on the frequency spectrum. And then of course the dry and the wet, that's how much of the signal is being processed, and then the output is like the total volume of the processed signal. Like always, try with the presets just to figure out what's up. See, we got the voice one right here.
19 anni, tu 16 e mezzo, da allora ne è passato un pezzo, mi ricordo bene, forse anche tu, la prima cena fuori, 2 Big Mac menu.
So I think this EQ plugin is very dope, almost for the saturation on its own. There's other features of this as well. So actually you can adjust, I'm actually looking at my notes up here in case you're wondering what I'm looking at. You hit areas. So you can actually you get like a frequency chart. So it shows you like where common frequencies are and like how to adjust them to be like that. So here you got your frequencies: treble, high, mid, blah, 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 sub, bass. And then you have like keyboard. And then where's the other cool one? Drums. I already did that one. You can do octaves, so that tells you like where the octaves are at. So this is very cool, man. I really like this plugin, and as I've already said, the saturation feature on it is dope. I really like it. It makes your vocals sound so cool and like so thick and like warm, and as I said before, like juicy. It's kind of a funny way of putting it, but it sounds juicy straight up. But anyway, so that's a really cool plugin that I really enjoy. You know, it's got a Spectrum and Sonogram analyzer as well. I think I forgot to show you that. Close. Analyzer. How do I get to the Sonogram? Oh yeah, here we go. So it shows you like a Sonogram thing. But anyway, I don't really use all that stuff too much. I don't know. I'm not that much of a sophisticated engineer. I just kind of like try to make things so it sounds good. I'm not into the whole like the super scientific part of it. But anyway, so that's a very useful plugin and I highly recommend it. The next one is the frequency shifter, the M frequency shifter. I'll show you what this one's all about. Where are you? M frequency shifter. Frequency shifter is literally like shifting the frequencies. I know it sounds self-explanatory, but I'll show you what I mean.
19 anni, tu 16 e mezzo, da allora ne è passato un pezzo, mi ricordo bene, forse anche tu, la prima cena fuori, 2 Big Mac menù. Tu 16 e mezzo, da allora ne è passato un pezzo, mi ricordo bene, forse anche tu, la prima.
And what's cool about this is when you adjust the width, it actually puts the shifted frequency on the one hand side, and then it puts the regular like unprocessed signal on the other. So you can see the frequency shifted is on the left, and then the normal one is on the right. So I think it's pretty cool. It also has a nice delay on it that I found actually pretty useful. I'm going to actually show you that right now. I think the delay is very good actually.
19 anni, tu 16 e mezzo, da allora ne è passato un pezzo, mi ricordo bene, forse anche tu, la prima cena fuori, 2 Big Mac menù. Tu 16 e mezzo, da allora ne è passato un pezzo, mi ricordo bene, forse anche tu, la prima cena fuori, 2 Big Mac menù.
And of course you can adjust the sine wave as well, so you can actually like shape how it's like how it's like shifting the frequencies.
19 anni, tu 16 e mezzo, da allora ne è passato un pezzo, mi ricordo bene, forse anche tu, la prima cena fuori, 2 Big Mac menù.
So yeah, this thing's pretty cool. I think it's cool. I think it's you know, has its functions. As always, check out the presets to see what it does.
19 anni, tu 16 e mezzo, da allora ne è passato un pezzo, mi ricordo bene, forse anche tu, la prima cena fuori, 2 Big Mac menù. Mi ricordo bene, forse anche tu, la prima cena fuori, 2 Big Mac menù. Allora ne è passato un pezzo, mi ricordo bene,
There's a lo-fi vibe.
forse anni, tu 16 e mezzo, da allora ne è passato un pezzo.
So yeah, this is another cool plugin. Then we'll go down to the M Saturator. This is a tube saturation plugin. Frankly, I'm not 100% familiar with how to get these saturation plugins, how to get them to work. So I just prefer to use the saturation plugin in the equalizer, or the saturation setting in the equalizer. I find that it's a lot easier to use. But regardless, maybe you can figure out how to make this thing sound really good. So I'm just going to show you like some of the
19
presets.
anni, tu 16 e mezzo, da allora ne è passato un pezzo, mi ricordo bene, forse anche tu, la prima cena fuori, 2 Big Mac menù. Tu 16 e mezzo, da allora ne è passato un pezzo, mi ricordo bene, forse anche tu, la prima cena fuori, 2 Big Mac menù.
Regardless, I think you could make this thing work. I'm not going to tell you like that I know 100% for certain how to get it to sound amazing, but I think it's very possible that you could get this thing to sound really good. The next one is the Spectral Panner. So what this does is that allows you to create like a panning effect on certain frequencies over others. So I'll show you what I mean right now. Spectral Panner. So you can actually like draw in the way that it adjusts the
19
frequencies.
anni, tu 16 e mezzo, da allora ne è passato un pezzo, mi ricordo bene, forse anche tu, la prima cena fuori, 2 Big Mac menu.
So yeah, when you draw in these frequencies like this, it's gonna pan the frequencies according to how you've drawn this in. So it's another like super cool feature that is very interesting. When it comes to all these plugins, like I find that, you know, it's best to be sparing with a lot of this stuff. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, like your plugins, it's like you're not going to need to use all of these on every single like vocal track. You know what I'm saying? Like they're just like useful things to have in like your toolbox. But anyway, that was I guess the Spectral Pan, so that was kind of it. The next one is the Acon Digital Multiply Course. So this is a chorus plugin, and I'll show you what it is right now. Acon Digital Multiply.
19 anni, tu 16 e mezzo, da allora ne è passato un pezzo, mi ricordo bene, forse anche tu, la prima cena fuori, 2 Big Mac menu.
So yeah, you can adjust this chorus so it affects certain frequencies over the others.
19 anni, tu 16 e mezzo, da allora ne è passato un pezzo, mi ricordo bene, forse anche tu, la prima cena fuori, 2 Big Mac menu. Allora ne è passato un pezzo. 19 anni, tu 16 e mezzo, da allora ne è passato un pezzo, mi ricordo bene, forse anche tu, la prima cena fuori, 2 Big Mac menu.
I find that these two settings right here are probably the most useful, the effect level and then the dry level. So like if you just want like a gentle chorus effect, you just like drop down this the effect level by a little bit, and then it won't be so overbearing on your vocal track. So that's definitely worth something, or that's definitely worth considering. You know, like these two functions right here, I find them like very useful for adjusting this plugin. The next one is the Klanghelm DC1A compressor. Now this is another compressor, but what's different about this one is this one's like more warm and chill. So for instance, and also the parameters are much simpler. So I found that it sounds the best usually like around this area. So we'll put it like this.
19 anni, tu 16 e mezzo, da allora ne è passato un pezzo, mi ricordo
So let's turn it off.
bene. 19 anni, tu 16 e mezzo,
On.
da allora ne è passato un pezzo, mi ricordo bene, forse anche tu, la prima cena fuori, 2 Big Mac menu.
And you also have these features down here like deep, relaxed, dual mono, and negative. I'm going to be completely honest with you, I don't use these at all, but I imagine you could find a way to use them and it'll sound all right. So the next one is the Voxengo Oldskoolverb. Now this is just a reverb plugin, another reverb plugin, but it sounds dope. And actually, what I was talking about before when I said that there was like a stage plugin, or excuse me, like a stage impulse response loader, this is what I was referring to. This one sounds really cool, and I'll show you what it sounds like right now.
19 anni, tu 16 e mezzo, da allora ne è passato un pezzo, mi ricordo bene, forse anche tu, la prima cena fuori, 2 Big Mac menu. Ne è passato un pezzo, mi ricordo bene, forse anche tu, la prima cena fuori, 2 Big Mac menu.
School gym.
10 e mezzo, da allora ne è passato un pezzo, mi ricordo bene, forse anche tu, la prima cena fuori, 2 Big Mac menu.
Empty stage. There we go.
Ora ne è passato un pezzo. 19 anni, tu 16 e mezzo.
So you notice that actually sounds like a stage. Like it actually sounds like an empty stage. It sounds just like it.
Da allora ne è passato un pezzo, mi ricordo.
It's pretty cool. It's amazing how they use this kind of stuff in like movies. You know what I mean? Like audio engineers in these movies. It's so like people don't think about that, like about the amount of audio engineering and work that's done into like the voices and the sounds in a movie. Like it's pretty intense, you know, like they make all these sounds pretty much through like audio engineering tactics and you know, processors and so on and so forth. Anyway, the next one is the Dlym Coarse Flanger. This is another cool plugin.
19 anni, tu 16 e mezzo. Da allora ne è passato un pezzo, mi ricordo bene, forse anche tu. La prima cena fuori, 2 Big Mac menù. Allora ne anni, tu 16 e mezzo. Da allora ne è passato un pezzo, mi ricordo bene, forse anche tu. La prima cena fuori.
So for this one, if you want to use it, I imagine you won't be using these crazy sounds. What it's best for is just like thickening up your vocals, like just a little bit. That's what I find it's best for.
19 anni, tu 16 e mezzo. Da allora ne è passato un pezzo, mi ricordo bene, forse anche tu. La prima cena, tu 16 e mezzo. Da allora ne è passato un pezzo, mi ricordo bene, forse anche tu. La prima cena fuori, 2 Big Mac menù. 19 anni, tu 16 e mezzo. Da allora ne è passato un pezzo, mi ricordo.
So you notice that with those settings like that, it just changes it like a little bit and thickens it up like a little bit. And that's kind of the point of using this plugin on vocals, I would say. Although if you wanted to, you could use the presets on it to do all kinds of crazy stuff with it. And last but not least is the Kilohearts Delay. And I'm just running out of disk space, so good. Anyway, so the Kilohearts Delay, where are you? This is a cool delay plugin. And this is a tricky one. Like how you use it is like you don't like type in the numbers or like use your keyboard. You use your trackpad or your mouse and then you like swipe it across the keyboard in order to get this to work. I would recommend using the sync option to adjust it. Usually around a quarter is where it's at.
19 anni, tu 16 e mezzo. Da allora ne è passato un pezzo, mi ricordo bene, forse anche tu. La prima cena fuori, 2 Big Mac menù.
See how it's like a bit of delay on here now? Once you get that mix down.
19 anni, tu 16 e mezzo. Da allora ne è passato un pezzo.
And what that's going to do is it's going to make it sound better in the context of the mix. So I'll show you right now.
19 anni, tu 16 e mezzo. Da allora ne è passato un pezzo, mi ricordo bene, forse anche tu. La prima cena fuori, 2 Big Mac menù.
Now I'll show it to you what it sounds like without it.
19 anni, tu 16 e mezzo. 2 Big Mac menù. 19 anni, tu 16 e mezzo. Da allora ne è passato un pezzo, mi ricordo bene, forse anche tu. La prima cena fuori, 2 Big Mac menù. 19 anni, tu 16 e mezzo. Da allora ne è passato un pezzo, mi ricordo bene, forse anche tu. La prima cena fuori, 2 Big Mac menù.
So yeah, what we're doing with that, we're just thickening it up a little bit. We're just adding a bit of movement to the way that it sounds. Okay? But all in all, that's pretty much it for the vocal plugins that I use on vocals. When it comes to recording and mixing vocals, I've found that thus far it's best, even though I've showed you all these plugins, like it's best to keep it simple, because I don't know, I just feel like that's almost like a universal principle in life, you know what I mean? Like the more you complicate things and the more you get like a million different plugins, it just ends up, you just end up like making things way too sophisticated and way too convoluted. So for the most part, like when I do vocals, I have like pitch correction, I have reverb, I have a nice compressor, maybe two, an equalizer, and then like some saturation, and then that's kind of it. You know what I mean? Like, and then another common thing that people do is they put their vocals in mono, and other than that, like you don't really need to do much else. But all these plugins, they are available to you to get a better sound. And more importantly, like what's really important for recording good vocals is like vocal technique, like how the singer is speaking into the mic, and also like the room that you're in and what kind of mic you're using in the first place. So like I would use like a nice condenser mic from Audio-Technica, like a 2020 or 2035, something like that. But anyway, I hope this was helpful to you. Make sure you like and subscribe if you found this useful. And if you didn't find it useful, make sure you like and subscribe anyway. And, yeah, that's it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. All right. Peace.